Third-person games encompass many genres, but they all involve you staring at the back of the playable character. Here are the top 10 free third-person Itchio games you don't know about. Atomic Picnic Appetizer is a third-person roguelite shooter where you fight endless hordes of monsters and get upgrades. You pick between one of 4 guns before each run that all handle very differently. You've got your assault rifle, which is a great all-around weapon, the sniper that works well once you get the upgrade to pierce through enemies, the shotgun for close range damage, and the grenade launcher, which can take out hordes of enemies quickly but has a short range. The movement and combat is very fluid, as you have a charge on a cooldown timer that allows you to perform a double jump as well as a dash to get away from enemies. All enemies drop XP tokens when they die, allowing you to pick from one of 3 random upgrades when you level up. There's tons of different enemy types, changing up how you approach any given scenario, as some enemies charge at you while others shoot projectiles or explosives. Between runs, you can spend gold currency earned in previous runs on permanent upgrades to make you stronger. The game is definitely designed around playing with a squad of people though, as I often found myself getting overwhelmed in the later stages since all of the enemies were focused on me. If you're looking for a polished roguelite shooter that you can play with some friends, then I recommend Atomic Picnic Appetizer. Dead Space Demake is a PS1 style remake of the beginning of Dead Space, having you navigate the USG Ishimura while fighting off hostile alien creatures. If you've played Dead Space before, you'll know that the enemies are killed by cutting off their limbs with your gun, which forces you to aim precisely, adding to the tension of combat. The corridors of the ship are tight, so you don't have much room to navigate and are easily ambushed. The game doesn't hold your hand at all and expects you to figure out what to do and where to go next based on the level design and voice lines said by your 2 crewmates.
Your stasis module should be able to help you with that arm mechanism.
If you're looking for a polished PS1 style Dead Space game, then I recommend Dead Space Demake. Journey Through Hell is a 3D platformer set in hell that has you play as the leader of a particular country during the big war after the first one. After skating around demonetization with that opening, you basically go through different zones of hell themed around countries. It pulls out all the stops, like showing tragic war pictures on the walls, and has soldiers burning indefinitely. Every time you complete a level, you're treated to a super cool dance scene, which really just sets the tone of the game. The platforming is nothing special, as you're mainly playing this one for shock value. But if you're looking for a potentially offensive platformer, then I recommend Journey Through Hell. Tori 3D Jumbled Jam is an old school 3D platformer where you play as a chick set in a vibrant world. The controls are very basic, just having a sprint and a double jump. But the level design is where the game shines. There's a lot of dynamic elements in the world, like conveyor belts, moving platforms, and various enemies. There are collectible stars scattered around that add a fun optional challenge to go for. There's only 4 levels, but each one has a different theme with some unique level gimmicks, like slippery levels in the ice level, for example. If you're looking for a simple but fun 3D platformer, then I recommend Tori 3D Jumbled Jam. Platwormer is a rage platformer where you have to climb to the top of a hazardous mountain full of humanoid crows trying to knock you off. You're able to move and jump, as well as wriggle, which sticks you to the green parts of vertical surfaces and also happens to look disturbing. The level design is extremely unforgiving, as there are no checkpoints and one mistake will send you all the way back to the beginning.
I'm gonna kill myself! Wow.
The sections with moving crows are all about tight timing, and the platforming sections have you make difficult jumps, so it's an all-around hard game. If you're looking for a hilariously frustrating game, then I recommend Platwormer. Stratosphere is a 32-bit action fighter where you crash landed on an alien planet and have to fight back to your ship. The spear-centered combat is fairly unique, as you're able to throw it at enemies but have to go retrieve it, leaving you weaker until you can get it back. You're also armed with a fairly weak gun and have some basic but satisfying melee moves to combo enemies, as well as a dash to avoid attacks. The lizard type enemies have a shield in the front when they block, meaning you have to hit them from behind, while the jellyfish enemies shoot orbs at you. There's some platforming elements as well to break up combat. If you're looking for a simple but satisfying brawler, then I recommend Stratosphere. Devil Catcher is a third-person platformer with combat elements where you play as an angel on a quest to defeat enemies from hell. I enjoyed the sense of progression as you start out with just a single jump and hammer, which is used to block projectiles and hit enemies. But eventually you get a double jump upgrade and a gun which can hit enemies from afar or shoot targets that move cloud platforms. The combat is pretty weak with the hammer though because it's repetitive. The first boss is a complete pushover since they just stand there, but the second one was a nice final challenge as you have to always be on the move to avoid attacks while grabbing ammo to shoot at it. If you're looking for a tightly controlling platformer with solid progression, then I recommend Devil Catcher. Gears of Babies is a third-person shooter where you play as an action hero baby fighting for his rights. A baby named Nick is tired of being without milk and diapers, so he kills American soldiers so that the tax money won't go to fighting wars in other countries, so it can be used on milk and diapers instead. So on a technical level, this game is a complete mess, but the premise is so absurd you can't help but root for the patriotic baby and kill anyone who stands in his way. You basically just go from area to area to collect diapers and kill the same useless enemy over and over again. But if you're looking for a terrible third-person shooter with an amazing story, then I recommend Gears of Babies. Iris: A Colorful Dream is a 3D adventure platformer where you explore in search of crystals to bring color back to the world. You have a sprint, wall run, and jump dash that feels satisfying and weighty to use. Most crystals are placed in locations that require you to complete some sort of platforming challenge to obtain. Throughout the game, you find different colored crystals that reveal platforms of that color, allowing you to stand on them when you activate your color burst ability. There's a few simple puzzles throughout that make use of this ability along with your platforming moves. If you're looking for a simple platforming game about bringing color back to a desolate world, then I recommend Iris: A Colorful Dream. Turnip is a charming open-world platforming game about exploring the world for turnips to grow furniture. The game's platforms are designed very abstractly, so figuring out how to get any given turnip is a challenge in itself. Once you get a turnip, you have to take it to one of several dirt patches where it will grow into a piece of furniture. Most of the furniture is just for completion's sake, but a few do help, like a rideable bike that makes you move faster or this lamp that lights up a dark cave. It's a relatively slow-paced game, but I found myself enjoying the strange world as I tried to figure out where all of the turnips were and how to get them. If you're looking for a calming collectathon platformer, then I recommend Turnip. Those were the top 10 free third-person Itchio games you didn't know about. I'll have my playlist of free Itchio games you don't know about linked in the description. Thanks for watching, give me money on Patreon, and don't forget to like and subscribe to keep up with this ongoing series.